at how everything is adding up, right? So we see all of these articles where banks are talking about their desire for technology, fintechs, DLT technology, they're putting it to use. We see that John Deaton the other day comes out and he talks about the next step for Ripple, if they continue to do certain things, is to become a bank, right? Become a bank, or who knows, maybe they acquire something. So, and then Brad Garlinghouse himself is coming out saying, listen, we're focused on expansion. We're focused on acquiring things. There's a lot going on right now. It's showing you the growth of crypto is rapid right now. These utility coin companies, these DLT coin companies, they're growing rapidly. And there's an article at the end of this video. We're going to cover an article that's going to tell a lot about what's coming. Big time, not an exaggeration, for real. And you can go read it yourself. But let's start off here because once again, we have the banks talking about, well, let me read the title to you. The title is this. Inside U.S. banks push to simplify global payments. And right, they jump right into it immediately. Payment solution providers, including banks and fintechs, are increasingly focusing on offering value-added services. Why? One, of course, we know they've been losing customers a lot. And there's something I want to add to that. They've been losing customers dramatically over the last 2-3 years. They call it deposit flight. That hasn't ended. So now let's acknowledge who they blamed for most of that was the non-banking financial institutions' money market funds. Now, have you seen what's going on lately with the articles and how they're speaking about money market funds? So the banks already let us know that they couldn't compete with them, that they had a problem with them. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but I mean, a lot of people here who've been on the channel for a while read those same articles. Last year, those came out. Now, if you've seen lately, and you can go and Google this, okay, how they've been talking about money market funds, I literally saw slanderous, negative articles about money market funds where they're telling people, and I don't agree with this, that money market funds are, this is what they said, this is how they phrased it in those articles, money market funds are stealing their capital. Unbelievable what's going on. Now, am I jumping out the window to believe that that maybe that there's a concerted effort to tear down the reputation of these money market funds and things of that nature that have been heavily benefiting people and people have been enjoying them, which is why they've kept their capital there. A lot of these people who are using money market funds, and this is all coming full circle, okay? Because that's one of the reasons what we're speaking about is one of the reasons why the banks have to congeal with the new financial system. They have to utilize the XRPL. They have to utilize Theyre, et cetera, things like that. I mean, not necessarily those specifically, but things like that. But I put those at the forefront, the bank coin companies, because they're the best of the best. But this is one of the reasons why they need to compete with money market funds. They can't do that without DLT. So that's why this is important to know. If they could at any point, right? Let's say that they figured out a way to compete with money market funds. They didn't have to fear them anymore. Then we have to start reassessing our position on bank money coming into crypto. So 100%, because then they wouldn't need crypto, right? So I have to keep up with that type of information. So just as a strategist. So now circling back around. Yeah, they've been tearing down money market funds. So now, payment solution providers, including banks and fintechs. So now, it says they are increasingly focused on offering value-added services. Like what? What have they been talking about? And this is what I mean. We don't know the extent, but we need to be watching and listening to what the banks are saying. We don't know the extent to which they're going to use staking. Delegation. Folks, I believe it. When they say value added services, we know that they're utilizing DLT heavily. We know that a lot of these Bitcoin companies claim they have a ton of banks. So staking is going to be there. Delegation is going to be there. How far does that go? That's a value added service. Now, also something I want to bring up. Remember, maybe a few days back, a few videos back, we covered an article where they literally told us they're looking for ways to please their customers. That was so powerful. So powerful. That means they need things like staking, delegation. They need it. They need to be able to offer new ways to generate value with lending. They need it. When you have an entity that needs something, a company, that's as close as you're going to get to guaranteed value ever. And that's something people should be happy about, should be excited about. I mean, if you're in crypto to make value, some people are in crypto because they want the technology to change things, albeit that looks like rather than completely just destroying the legacy system like a lot of people thought, things are becoming closer to what Ripple and the Bankcoin companies intended to do, which was to congeal with the legacy financial system, absorb them, change them from the inside, and they will be changed. It's already happening. So you have all of this going on. All of that is major. It says the pursuit. Once again, they drop hints for you here, although other articles are quite direct. Some are not direct. The pursuit of frictionless customer experience is a central goal for payment providers. That comes by way of what? If you have frictionless customer experience, that's going to come by way of smart contracts. One, AI is another. And we saw a lot of articles come out recently about AI and advancements in AI as far as customer service and how smooth that's going and how it's advancing. Looks like it's going pretty good. A few hiccups here and there, but that's going well as also. And remember, they're going to be combining AI with DLT, right? So now I don't want to take too much time on that, but you can go read that article for yourself. Very good article. Then we have news like this. We got a lot of news today. Wait, I think I have two articles that may cover something similar. Hold on. Bear with me one moment, please. One moment. Ooh, actually, we have more big articles today than I actually remembered. I just collect the articles. When I'm in my research zone, I might collect 15, 20 articles and I'll choose like 6 of them. I used to just have all the tabs open like 20 tabs open. I don't do that anymore because it slows my computer down. But now I've gotten down to like maybe 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 tabs sometimes just with articles alone. But anyway, this article is titled "Crypto Wanted to Overthrow Banks. Now it's becoming them in stablecoin fight." Well, not just in the stablecoin fight, right? I mean, they're looking at becoming banks across the board. Stablecoins are not. But they don't have to. That's the thing. They don't have to. This is merely an option. But everyone knows that if they do take that route, everything changes. Everything changes. If you look at any of the videos where I put a title where it says something like changes everything, if one but looks at those articles, one of those articles covers something that does change everything. And I haven't used that too much, maybe like 2 or 3 times. And each one of those times is serious business. The world is changing and it doesn't matter if they accept it or not. The world is changing, not just because of the new financial system. There's all types of science going on right now. New advancements in science that when it hits the mainstream, there's no turning back. The new financial system is just a tiny part of that. All of life is going to be changing over the next, I say 5 to 8 years. All of life, mark my words. There's no way, you can't turn back now. But anyway, I wish more people were interested in science. I would talk about that. But I tried that before, but it doesn't seem like people are too interested in those things, but they're major. Now, anyway. Once again, this article is titled "Crypto Wanted to Overthrow Banks, Now Is Becoming Them. If you can't beat them, join them." Crypto firms are becoming banks or bank-like to comply with stablecoin laws in the US, EU, and Hong Kong. A long time ago, I believe it was Ripple was telling the people Stellar was telling the people. And I believe Algorand also were telling the people that they were telling them. Sorry, I have so many thoughts at the same time. My apologies, folks. Please bear with me. But they were telling them they didn't want to take over the banks. There you go. They didn't want to take over the banks. They wanted to help them. They wanted to congeal with them. They wanted to enhance them. And you've even heard that verbiage go back and forth with, I believe, sometimes when it in correlation with Swift as well. I mean, they can compete with them or they can help them. It can go either way, but they let that be known a long time ago. But I remember people did not like that. The reaction, they did not take that well. They wanted crypto to be a decentralized system that is separate from the legacy system. And that just did not happen. So, but if one did acknowledge that and take that serious and follow that chain of thinking, then this is not a surprise that a lot of companies are seeking to become banks right now. If you go back 3 years or so, and watch those videos, if you ever did such a thing, you would hear me say, I believe a lot of these companies would become banks. And we even looked into that of the criteria at that time. Maybe they changed at that time what it would take to become a bank, which it wasn't complicated. If you remember that, if people have been around that long. So I just wanted to put that on your table. So now let's move on here, because that's the mind state right now is people are starting to talk about it. Crypto companies becoming banks or bank-like, they're starting to accept it. And the more that occurs, the more likely we're going to see more activity like that. So now we have this article here. This article is titled, Ripple CEO says Ripple is focused on acquiring companies, not pursuing an IPO. What else are they going to acquire? And I tell you what, they have a lot of leverage. They're unleashed now in the US, or a few more steps left, but they stand to dominate in the US. They have true global reach. They could bring in trillions upon trillions of dollars quite easily, given the right conditions and the right movements. But let me read this to you. It says here, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse discloses that the blockchain infrastructure company is focused on acquisitions rather than pursuing an IPO. Garlinghouse emphasized this during an interview with Bloomberg TV, where he shed light on the company's future trajectory. According to him, Ripple is gearing up to acquire complementary blockchain infrastructure companies. Look at this. The growth is going to be unbelievable. And they always make sure to confirm they're pushing forward of XRP. They're the undeniable power of XRP. Every once in a while, they come out and let the people know, because I think they have that understanding. So they're a company that doesn't hide. They have that understanding that if they don't come out and talk about XRP, push it forward and let people know, yes, we're behind this, even though that man has a tattoo of XRP, people will start to doubt. It's an interesting thing that just happens. It's just the way that it is. But it says they're gearing up to acquire complementary blockchain infrastructure companies after growing its business organically. This suggests that Ripple has successfully expanded its operations, revenues, and customer base through its payment solution without relying on external funding. No, they have a lot of capital to play with for sure. A lot of capital to play with. Following this success, he disclosed that Ripple is now focused on acquiring companies that will complement its business. While he declined to mention any target companies, Garlinghouse said Ripple is interested in acquiring firms that provide, quote, core blockchain infrastructure similar to what it does. That's interesting, folks. Now, we do know that they went after Circle, and allegedly Circle denied them. That would have been major. That would have been powerful. And very interesting if you understand who Circle has ties with. Who does Circle have ties with, folks? You've been around here a long time. It gets interesting when you look into that. So now let's continue on here. IPO plans. There have been speculations about Ripple's plans to pursue an IPO in the United States. The debate gained momentum in 2023, with several analysts like Linda Jones predicting that the company might go public through an IPO by 2025. However, Garlinghouse dismissed the rumors about a planned IPO as previously reported. Garlinghouse noted that it would be difficult for the company to go public while it was still embroiled in legal battle with the U.S. All right, so now let's move on here. We have a few more articles. I think we can squeeze them in. You know what? Let me jump to some of this Bitcoin news. Now, this is the article. I believe this is the article I really, really wanted people to hear. Bear with me one moment. Listen to this. If people don't see what's coming now, I'm not sure when they will. Something major is about to happen with Bitcoin. Lives will be changed again. Is it going to happen forever? No. Same thing with the bank coins. It's not a forever thing. There's not a forever thing. But I think it's safe to predict that there's probably 3 to 4 explosions. If you want to play it safe, really safe, it'll be 2 to 3 explosions to come. Like major explosions. Whatever happens after that, I'm not sure. And I'm going based on all the catalysts. But this article is titled, Public Companies Have Already Acquired 96% of All Bitcoin Mined in 2025. What? 96%. Now we read an article the other day. And they were talking about how big money players in Bitcoin were holding long term now. Then we read another article where they confirmed it. Remember that we had a confirmation. They confirmed that research is showing that most big money individuals who are holding Bitcoin, their mentalities have flipped from a short-term strategy to a long-term strategy. There's something big happening. And yes, there are many positive catalysts for Bitcoin. But I feel like there's one that we're not seeing. And I don't believe it's the cities holding Bitcoin. As we did see, there was a city that has a Bitcoin reserve. So how does that work? So you have cities with a Bitcoin reserve, then the states that they're in may also at some point have a Bitcoin reserve. We know there's states that were looking into that also. Then the nations may hold some Bitcoin. There's not enough Bitcoin to go around. There's not. I see why the companies are holding, because they probably feel like there's a guaranteed massive explosion most people don't see because of those solid catalysts. You have to take cities, states, and nations seriously. That's not a game. That's so anyway. Let's read a little bit of this. Okay. It says, together with ETF issuers, private companies, acquisitions, publicly listed firms added 192,925 Bitcoin to their chest in 2025. Scroll down here. I just want to make sure I'm not repeating, because they repeat the line again. Bitcoin treasuries data shows that private companies added another 16,799 Bitcoin to their holdings during the same period, while Bitcoin ETF issuers acquired 34,968 Bitcoin. Wow. Combined, these three groups purchased 192,925 Bitcoin during the first 4 months of the year. They're not playing around. Why? Why are they acquiring all this Bitcoin? Obviously, they don't believe Bitcoin is going to go, price is going to go down significantly, because they're here to make money. They're not here to make pennies. Same thing with gold. You see all these gold predictions now? I wonder if they're lowballing gold. Understanding the geopolitical tensions, Bitcoin and gold could go up significantly, especially gold. But Bitcoin right now, I believe that a lot of people, even though they're not talking about it, I believe they know all of these major catalysts. I do. But I think, I don't know how to phrase it. They want to get in first. They don't want others too bullish. I think there's a lot of greed right now, secret greed right now, where everybody's trying to scramble to get some Bitcoin before others learn about it, mostly companies, before the explosion happens. They're trying to gobble up as much as they can and hold as much as they can. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. So now it says here, this total surpasses the annual expected supply of newly mined Bitcoin by 17%, suggesting ongoing demand pressure from corporate and institutional entities. Strategy continues to lead among public entities. They're smart, I'm telling you right now. They're wise in this, acquiring 107,155 Bitcoin so far this year. That alone represents nearly 2/3 of the public company supply and over 65% of the new supply. The firm's purchases continue to shape the corporate Bitcoin accumulation narrative, although the broader trend now includes a range of mining companies, financial firms, and treasury reserve managers. A lot going on here today. So now let's go here. We're going to go to another article. I like to keep it fresh. I like to keep the energies rolling. By the way, I have so much work to do. I tell you, I have a lot of work to do. But I had to go check on the rose bush. I have a new rose bush that we put in the garden. And I've been checking on it, make sure it gets watered and everything. Put some, what do you call that? Plant food in there, things like that. I have some, what are those things called? I have some hibiscus flowers. I examined those and make sure those were good also. But I noticed, gardening is good. Get your hands dirty. Your nails you have some wash up. It's going to get dirty. But if you don't like the soil, then I guess you won't like gardening. But it does something good for my mind. But anyway, I've noticed hibiscus flowers, they grow easily, rapidly. But I'm just watching the rose bush. I'm trying to make sure it grows. I want that thing big, beautiful. I want red roses all over the place. So there's that. So I'm going to go and check that out a little bit again later. Yeah. Random tidbit. Why not? Random sharing. Yeah. I made sure it was a red rose bush though. I like red roses the best. Anybody out there like red roses the best? They're just beautiful. So anyway, so now let's end off with this article here. Bitcoin. There was something else I wanted to share with everybody, but I can't remember what it was. Bitcoin hodler, unrealized profits near 350% as $100,000 risk sell-off. Also, they say it's good to, I've read a lot of documents where they say it's good to be nice to plants. Plants actually react to your words and your voice. There's a biochemical reaction from how you speak around plants. You think not? Look that up. But let's go here. Let's get back into this. Mick, you're talking about gardening. Gardening it's a good thing. Bitcoin, especially if you need to relax, gardening can help you relax. Bitcoin's more resilient hodlers are nearing what has been a classic profit-taking level in the past. Will they copy history and start selling their Bitcoin? I also want to have to put some more soil down for the regular grass, put some more grass seeds out and things like that. We have a lot of work to do. It says Bitcoin risk a quote notable increase in selling from its older investors if price rises further, warns on-chain analytics firm Glassnode. In the latest edition of his regular newsletter, quote, The Week on-chain, researchers calculated that long-term holders are sitting on almost 350% unrealized profits. Why? Why are they just sitting on it? Why not take that profit? Right. I think we all know why. Same reason that most of these big companies are just holding or acquiring. There's something big coming. Golden age, folks. The golden age is almost here. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.